Hi, class. We are entering week 2 in Theories of Personality. Each week, I'll be posting a video to provide a brief review of the coming week, of your learning, what's expected in regards to your reading and learning, and what different types of discussion posts or assignments that will be due. I'll provide some tips and recommendations in these videos, but also please do not forget you can absolutely reach out to me via email with any questions, or again, I can make myself available via phone or video Zoom if you would like. So, this week, week 2, we're really beginning to learn a lot more about the origins of personality and really the field of psychology as a whole. We will be delving into the research and literature and theories of these first theorists. And many of them are quite infamous. Um, and it really is the beginning of where we are at now in regards to psychotherapy treatment and mental health treatment. So, Sigmund Freud is one of the earliest originators of the idea of the psyche, the unconscious, our drives and impulses that pull us to behave in certain ways or not. And he was one of the first to really look at a developmental model or perspective of what happens and what do we need to achieve at different stages of development. Really, really rich amount of research and theories he came up with. And he really was the founder of psychoanalysis or psychodynamic theory. That particular theoretical orientation or lens had a very, very early beginnings with Sigmund Freud more in Vienna, Austria. But you will learn a lot more about some other theorists that come out of Europe and that originated psychoanalysis and psychodynamic theory this week in week 2. We will also look at Carl Jung's work, which was very instrumental. We will look at Alfred Adler and Harry Strack Sullivan for this week. These are really the main theorists we're going to delve into. And then next week, you'll notice we have like a second part of psychodynamic theory and origins that we will cover with different theorists. This is a good also beginning of what you can expect week to week. Here with week 2, you'll notice that 2 assignments are due and 1 discussion board post. And reminder, with those discussion board posts, you are to also, by Wednesday night at midnight, respond to your peers, at least 3. So this coming week, by Wednesday night at midnight, we want you to respond to the original discussion board post by choosing one of 2 options to respond to. One, we want you to either examine the inferiority complex and how you may have experienced a situation in your own life that may have brought about this within yourself. So I want you to describe Adler's inferiority complex and give a life example that can represent your understanding of this and how you may have experienced this. Or you don't need to do both, or you can choose to delve into Jung's idea of introversion or extroversion. I'm sure many of you are familiar with introverts or extroverts, and obviously many aspects of personality, just like introversion, extroversion, can be on a spectrum. So some individuals might feel like they fall somewhere in the middle, for example. But if you're choosing this one to respond to on the discussion board post, I want you to just choose one that you maybe lean a little more towards if you're going to choose this response for discussion, and go into depth with some examples to support how and why you feel that you're a little more introverted or a little more extroverted, for example, and utilizing again the theory and the concepts, the reading and or other resources as much as possible to really demonstrate strong critical thinking and your best work with showing your full understanding of the concepts and theories before you apply it to your own life experiences. This is a tip that will help you with many discussion board posts and assignments moving forward. Is many of the time we're asking you to apply this theory or psychological concept to your own experience, and typically we're inviting you to do your best to describe it first, your understanding of the concept, the tenet, and as much as possible in the definition of it before going into the application. And then you have again 2 assignments that are due by Sunday night at midnight, just as your responses to your peers' posts are due by Sunday night at midnight. The first assignment, again, here you're getting to choose one or the other. Either you can respond to your understanding of the unconscious with Freud's work. So choosing either a childhood memory or perhaps a dream or nightmare that shows up for you. And I want you to apply, after sharing that, apply at least two of Freud's distinct psychological concepts from his theories to this experience of a memory from childhood or a dream that had showed up around that time. And how might Freud interpret that and apply other aspects of his theory? Or again, you can look at Jung's idea of archetypes. You can choose an archetype that most resonates with you or of most interest to you. But then I want you to show vivid examples from your adult life in yourself or others that have represented this particular archetype. And I want you to go into depth too with exploring collective unconscious and how his idea of that might apply to these experiences. And as many examples, life examples as you can to support your greater understanding would be is recommended, as well as again integrating other literature or research to the best of your ability too. And then you'll notice your other assignment is something that you're going to be doing week by week. It is your own, I like to think of it as like a journal or your way of providing more comprehensive information about three of the theories from that week's learning that are of most interest to you that you want to delve into a little more deeper. And what's lovely about this is if you're going to pursue further education training in psychology or in psychotherapy, a lot of the foundations of treatment are come out of these theorists that we'll be covering throughout this course. And you might take a comprehensive exam or a licensing exam, or you might go into depth with training around a psychological treatment that all come from these early beginnings of these theorists' work. And so you can also hold on to this journal of reference for later on, and it's something that will be transferable and useful for you, I'm sure. So in keeping that in mind when doing this week by week, again, you're going to choose three of the theorists from the learning of that week. I'm going to go into depth about the tenets of the theory and concepts that you've learned, summarizing them to the best of your ability, strengths and or limitations that you can really, that speak to you, why you think it's a relevant and important theory and or not. Is there room, for example, for more empirical research perhaps for that particular theory, which can be a common one with some of these older psychodynamic or just older theoretical orientations. And then I want you to, we say cross theory, but basically do a comparison analysis between that theory you chose and one of the others. So you're really demonstrating real comprehensive understanding of three of the different theories from that week. And so you're going to follow that same format week by week. And, by the end, you're going to have this very rich, comprehensive dynamic journal or guide for yourself for future learning and training. This is, like many of the other Bay Path online courses, quite fast, quite rapid. So please do your best to stay on top of material. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you're having any challenges. Or you might have any extenuating circumstances that you'd like to let me know about that might be showing up or getting in the way. With all of these courses, there's a buffer of 4 days that you can be late, but there are points deducted for late submission. And many professors will do our best to collaborate with you within the confines of the course. And if it's a very big extenuating circumstance that might affect you more than a week, please don't hesitate to consider the Office of Accessibility and Accommodations. Many times they can work with us to help create a separate plan or for you if possible. I hope you're enjoying the learning so far. I look forward to getting to know you more throughout the application of a lot of the material. And I am here as a guide and to support you in your learning. And I look forward to sharing a video with you next week and hearing from you about the learning and with any questions. Thank you. I will talk to you soon again. Bye.